So I told you earlier this week that there is a tape, a Trump-Cohen tape recorded by his former personal attorney, Michael Cohen, who's become a pretty significant character in this entire Trump-Russia investigation at this point. CNN obtained the tape, and we're going to listen to a little bit of it. And what they're going to be talking about, if you have not been following the context, and I don't blame you, and in fact, I envy you if that's the situation that you're in. This is a conversation between Trump and Michael Cohen related to Playboy model Karen McDougal, with whom Trump had an affair, allegedly. At the end, you're going to hear Trump talking about paying cash, and you're going to hear Michael Cohen say, no, no, no. Two important things I want to mention about this, which have been mentioned elsewhere, but not so much recently. Number one, the cash issue before we play the tape. Rudy Giuliani has been claiming, or had been claiming for the last few days, when there was a transcript of the tape, but not the tape itself, that referencing cash for the payment had been attributed in the transcript to Donald Trump, when in reality it was Michael Cohen who brought up the issue of paying cash. You will listen to the tape and you will see that it's actually very, very clearly Donald Trump who mentions cash, and then it's Cohen who says, no, no, no. That's number one. There's also another part of the tape, which I don't even know if we're going to play. This may be before we actually jump into it, where Donald Trump references Pam, and that increasingly is being considered to maybe be a reference to Pam Bondi, the beleaguered Florida Attorney General with whom Trump has had sketchy dealings, including a very interestingly timed campaign donation, which coincided, of course, just mere coincidence, with the dropping of Florida's interest in investigating Trump University. So that was at the beginning of the tape. Let's now get into the tape, sort of in the heat of it, where Donald Trump and his then personal attorney, Michael Cohen, are talking about how to handle this Karen McDougal story about her affair with Donald Trump.
So we got served from the New York Times. I told you this. We were regarding to unseal the divorce papers with Ivana. We're fighting it. Kaslowitz is going to.
Should never be able to get that done.
Never. Kaslowitz doesn't. They'll ever be able. They don't have a.
Give me a code, please.
They don't have a legitimate purpose.
And you have a woman that doesn't want to unseal.
Correct.
So you've been handling.
Yes, and it's all.
It's been going on for a while.
For about 2-3 weeks now.
All you have to do is delay it for.
Even after that, it's not going to ever be opened. There's no purpose for it. Told you about Charleston. I need to open up a company for the transfer of all of that info regarding our friend David, so that I'm going to do that right away. I've actually come up and I've spoken to Alan Weisselberg about how to set the whole thing up with
So what are we going to pay?
Funding. Yes, and it's all the stuff. All the stuff, because you never know where that company, you never know where he's going to be.
Gets it by.
Correct. So I'm all over that. And I spoke to Alan about it when it comes time for the financing, which will be.
Listen, what financing?
We'll have to pay you. So
Don't pay with cash.
No. I got no. Hey, no. How are you?
So there is zero question whatsoever that it's Donald Trump who says, what financing? We're going to pay cash. And Michael Cohen says, no. So this is all water under the bridge for Trumpists. They are already convinced that there's nothing here. They are saying that the tape is too muddled to really understand anything. Obviously, we had no problem whatsoever understanding this tape. There are a few things here, okay? Trump's new lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, is saying that the content of this tape simply doesn't matter because they never ended up making the payment. This is evidence that a payment was discussed, not evidence that a payment was made. The biggest thing, I guess, I don't know what else, the biggest element of this that to me is the most notable is that yet again, Trump is caught lying. And this is someone, Karen McDougal, about whom rumors of affair were dismissed by Trump as totally fake news. Obviously, the affair happened. Obviously, Trump lies about everything. His pretending to barely even know who Karen McDougal was, clearly bogus, given that he was having a conversation with Michael Cohen about it, where he didn't seem to need to be clued into any of the details. He seemed to know them. And if you're waiting around for Trumpists to care about the lies, that ship has sailed, okay? That's not going to happen. Trump claimed to know nothing about it, denied the affair entirely, and now he's on tape talking about paying her cash. Criminality here. As always, possible campaign finance law violations. We just don't know yet. We need to see. They claim no payment was ever made. Do I believe that? Well, I certainly don't take their word for it because they've been lying about this all along. Cohen, also on the tape, admits to opening up another one of these shell companies. That should be notable, but that's par for the course at this point. That's how these people operate. Cohen opens up shell companies and then makes payments of hush money to people that have had affairs with Donald Trump. It's the same story with Stormy Daniels. That makes the Stormy story even more plausible since she was also paid out of a shell company created by Michael Cohen. So that's all the same pattern. The most interesting aspect of this is that when word broke about this tape, I immediately thought, if the feds have this tape, there are probably more tapes, and there's a new report out now which says the feds probably have at least 12 audio recordings, if not more, from Michael Cohen. And I maintain that if someone can bring Donald Trump down, it is Michael Cohen. So what's Trump's reaction? Predictable reaction going on PBS NewsHour. I'm just kidding. Obviously going on Twitter. Where else is he going to go? And saying, quote, "What kind of a lawyer would tape a client? So sad. Is this a first? Never heard of it before? Why was the tape so abruptly terminated, cut, while I was presumably saying positive things? I hear there are other clients and many reporters that are taped. Can this be so? Too bad." Of course, Trump's media lackey, Sean Hannity, all over this, framing the tapes as nothing, teasing the story as jumbled, unintelligible tapes that don't say anything notable anyway. He actually teased the segment last night by saying, "When we come back, we have breaking news. The Cohen-Trump audio is out. I'll give you a hint. A huge dud, thud, dud straight ahead."
Well, I think more tapes are coming, right? And
I think
maybe
so.
this one was released on purpose because it's kind of ambiguous. Like, you don't know for sure if Trump is suggesting that they should make a cash payment.
Right.
And maybe the idea behind that is to catch Trump and his lawyers in a lie, right? Deny that it ever happened. And then you release more tapes clearly showing that it did.
Yeah, the next tape, you have Trump on tape saying, "Michael, here is $150,000 in cash. It is mostly 50s with some 20s mixed in. Please count it. Make sure it gets to Karen McDougal, who I had sex with." And then, of course, they would say, "Listen, that's a very muddled audio tape, and that could be anybody. We don't know what that means whatsoever."
That was definitely doctored. That's going to be the new excuse.
It's a fake tape. The tape is fake. And you know, it's incredible what Barron can do with computers these days. That could have been anybody, and it's completely fabricated. We'll see what happens, but I agree with Pat. I think that we will see more tapes eventually, and they're not going to be good for Donnie Boy.